Alright, Chapter 27, Equipment of Railway Stations. Introduction. A lot of equipment is required at the railway station yards of the efficient working of the railway system. The equipment is served for the following purpose: to provide facility for the convenience passenger platforms, foot over the bridges, subways, receipt, dispatch, good traffic, the cranes, weight bridges, load gauges, unloading and unloading ramps, equipment, locomotives, coaches, locomotive sheds, examination pits, ash pits, squatter columns, turntables, triangles, isolation running lines, derailing, switching, scotch blocks, humps, and buffer stops. The following marks the details of some of the important railway equipment given in this chapter. 27.1. Following platforms, type of the platforms are provided in Indian Railways. Passenger platforms are provided to facilitate the movement of passengers to help them in the train and detrain. With the platforms can be three types, namely railway level platforms, low level platforms, high level platforms that can be discussed in detail. Chapter 26. Good platforms. These platforms provide loading and unloading of the goods in parcel from wagons. The essential feature for the good platforms are the following. Good platforms normally surface with the bituminous carpet of the concrete. In this case, light traffic morum, water-bound macadamium can be used. The height of the good platforms are 1.07 meters, broad gauge 0.69 meters, meter gauge 0.61 meters, narrow gauge. Height of the platform is measured railway level and such of the platform surface flush is the flush of the floor of the water wagon for the easy loading unloading goods. Adequate storage accommodations are provided with good platforms for the storage of goods and parcels. Mobile cranes fixed overhead with gantry cranes are provided with the handling of the bulky and heavy parcels. 27.2. Foot over bridges and subways. Foot over bridges are provided with the movement of passenger light baggage from one platform to another. Bulk heavy goods that are taken to one platform to another by means of a handcart, which are carried over across the tracks near the end of the platform in order to reach the requisite platform. Some stations are also provided with subway and movement of the passenger goods in between the platform. 27.3. Cranes. Cranes are normally provided with good sheds to load and unload bulky and heavy material, such as the heavy machines load and log on the wagons. And normally in the three types: the fixed jib crane. The crane is fixed for the conventional location. Good platforms for purposes of loading, unloading bulky and heavy goods for the wagons. Mobile crane. The crane is mounted with the wagon track of or truck, can be moved anywhere on the platform. The requirement to load, unload bulky parcels. Overhead gantry crane and consists of the two horizontal girths of the beam supported with a number of the vertical posts. The traveling platform fixed between the two girths, fitted with the equipment hosting goods that are capable of moving to and fro with the girders. Wagon. The road vehicles are brought in under the gantry for loading and unloading materials. 27.4. Weighbridge. A weighbridge is the way of loading the wagon so that it gets an idea of the weight of the contents. It's basically a small length of the track of platform supported with the beams. Beams are located in the pit under the track. The rest of the knife edge is attached to the lever. The wagons are placed on the weighbridge. It weighs indication by a pointer graduated disc located in the joining structure, and the weighted bridge is normally provided with the siding not on the thorough track. The loading gauge. A loading gauge is the purple valve up to the wheel of which the vehicle is loaded with in order to maintain the minimum clearance between the load and the top of the wagon and the underside of the structure, such as bridges, tunnels, signal posts. The dimension of the load of the wagon are kept with the fixed limits for the directing loading of the gauge across the track of the shape of the steel frame, which can cause the obstruction if the wagon load exceeds the load gauge. Figure 2.2 in the chapter 2. Load wagons whose dimensions exceed the normal permissible loads are known as oversized dimensional consignments, or ODCs. ODCs are parcels as well as sanctioned center and level taken over the following precautions. Trains with over-dimensioned consignments should be a restricted speed with the specified for that purpose. Such trains should not move at night. Trains with oversized dimensioned consignments should be accompanied with a supervisor whose duty is to ensure the safely train along the reroutement. Unloading ramps. They are provided with the unloading of the wagons at the rear end. Such ramps are also used for the unloading cars and other mobile vehicles. Unloading ramps are following essential features. Figure 21.7 shows the end of the loading ramp, the road, the plan, the broad and meter gauge, the railway track cars, elevation, ending load ramp, road, railway wagon height. It has a dead-end siding with a buffer stop platform with the ramp. The platform's height is 1.3 meters, broad gauge 0.86 meter gauge. The small gap maintained between the buffer stop and the rail platform is to minimize the damage of the platform. The gap is covered by the hinged platform of the wagon wheel while being loaded. 27.7. Locomotive shed. Locomotive's running shed is meant for the maintenance of the servicing locomotive. The locomotive design of the locomotive should depend on the volume of the pattern of the traffic layout of the terminal station, marshalling yard, other allied factors. Locomotive sheds are normally spaced about 200 to 300 kilometers apart in order to avoid any ideal movement of the locomotives and crew. The locomotive sheds are basically two types. Homing shed. They are provided with a housing locomotive attending their maintenance. The servicing equal stress laid on the servicing maintenance locomotives in the shed. The sheds are normally designed to house about 80 to 100 locomotives. turnaround shed. These are provided with the servicing locomotive, bringing them back in the home shed. They are also provided with the attending of the certain minor repairs. They should normally be designed to hold about 30 to 50 locomotives. 2771 locomotive layout of locomotive shed. Layout of locomotive shed. Normally three different types, namely roundly house type, rectangular type, and mixed type. The roundhouse locomotive shed. The roundhouse locomotive consists of a normal locomotive repair with the stabbing lines radiant with the turntable center of the shed is normally with the shape of a circle in a polygon or a polygon. This includes the engine and taking the turntable to transfer with a particular line for repair. The provision of the turntable eliminates the need for shunting. Turntable, roundhouse, office, roundhouse, locomotive shed. Locomotive enters and leaves the same end, therefore, and in the event of the turntable becoming inoperative, the movement of each of the locomotives discontinue until the turntable is repaired. The type of the shed layout is not recommended for the Indian Railways. Are rectangular locomotive shed. These sheds are rectangular shaped, the most commonly used with the Indian Railways. Rectangular shapes can also blind shed, the real shed, and a mixed type shed. The blind type shed, all repairs should base terminate dead of the ends of locomotives that can enter exit from one end to the end only. In the leading conflicts of the movement of the locomotive, however, these type of sheds are cheap because they save amount of space needed with the tracks turning out of the rear of the end. But such rectangular sheds can be planned with the small locomotive holdings. 727.3 locomotive rectangular locomotive shed. The examination repair shed, service pit, office store, repair shop, hydrant, two running lines, transverser, ash pit for running lines, sump, and water column. And through the rectangular shed, the locomotives move from one end over to the other in correct sequence operation to perform servicing. Such sheds offer considerable scope with further expansion intended for the maximum flexibility in shed operations. Alright, your mixed type sheds. The mixed type sheds are characters of both the blinding and the thorough type. These sheds are a suitable location requiring expansion in the near future, lack of the requisite 27.7 to essential way of laid out locomotive shed. The locomotive shed should be satisfied following the condition. As far as possible, design shed should allow the engines to move only one direction, multiple direction movement of the engine apart with creating unsafe conditions would variably slow the engine down, cause the unduly detain. The design should be such that the time taken the engine passing through the shed is reduced to minimum. Layout should be such that it's possible to skip one or more stages of servicing. All engines do not require the entire cycle servicing. They should adequately stable and accommodation, both covered and open. With all the engines, there should be adequate facility with the servicing and repair engines. There should be separate sheds carrying out heavy repairs involving lifting of the engines, dropping the wheels. There should be provided with the adequate water supply for the servicing of the locomotives, as well as for domestic use. There should be provision of stores, tool room, general maintenance, repair work, adequate office accommodations. They should be made with the available supervisor staff. The sequence of the operation normally followed with locomotive sheds is as the following: inspection, cooling, turning, fire cleaning, replacement, repairs, outgoing inspection, department of traffic, departure to traffic yard. 27.8 ash pits, also called de-ashing pits, to provide with the collect ash pits from the following with the locomotive's rectangular shape with the depth of the 1 meter fill in line with the fire bricks. The length of the ash pit should be adequate so the longest locomotive can be de-ashed. The pit length of the normally 15 to 9 or 52 feet in broad gauge. The ash pit is suitable slope within the center of the towards the end of the so that the water can be drained effectively. 27.4 shows your ash pit, concrete block, broad BH rail, fire brick lining, 2.6 millimeters from the rail, from the fire brick lining formation, gauge, level, drain, cement, concrete, 1, 2, and 4. The ash pit should be cleaned as often as possible. The ash should be first dumped outside of the pit and subsequently removed, stored with a suitable place for further disposal of the area around the ash pit. Should be paved with the space should be provided with the picking of the storage and cinders. Ash pits normally provide with the points and locomotive sheds where the locomotives run from turn clean and the drop in the fire. They also provide the big stations place for the locomotives to collect the water from de-ashing. Alright, 27.8.1 ash pans also used for the de-ashing locomotives consist of the U-shaped precast reinforced concrete units placed on the side to side with the retention ash pans are normally provided with the normals in the station yard. Through these pans, they are very low capacity. They still have the following advantage: easy to construct, very economical, no speed restriction necessary for the main line when ash pans are provided. 27.8.2 examination pits. Examination pits are called outgoing pits. They are used for the fire de-ashing before the locomotive leave the shed. The outgoing engine examination repairs. The fire pit should be minimum length of 25 meters with a stair with the end to end able to go underneath the locomotive. The inspection repair. The pit should be able to 1 meter deep, lined with fire breaks about 6 meters in center. With fire cleaning is carried out. Water columns should be provided by the side of each pit. 27.8.3 drop pits are provided in order to enable the wheels of the locomotive to remove the examination repairs. Renewal of these pits are normally provided with right angles over the track. Movable jacks are installed to enable the wheels from the axles to be removed. Alright, 27.9 water columns. Figure 27.5 is provided with a supply with water and locomotive. The water columns, vertical pipes surveilling armed in a horizontal shape of the swan's neck. Bay hose are provided with the end of the arms that enable the water to open the engine tender of the foot valve and fixed into the inside of the water column. Water is made available to suitable located in the high service tank. 27.5 shows the water column 4.67 meters, 4.8 and 4.3 meters. The back hose output 2.55 millimeters. A swiveling pipe, a chain and a ring. The vertical pipe, the stuffing of the box and foot valve. Water columns are provided with locomotive yards as well as various stations where engines are required to water and fold. A turntable is a device used for changing the direction of the locomotive, normally provided with the terminal station, locomotive yards, or marshalling. 27.6 shows the turntable. It shows the rail, the U-frame, the pivot of the masonry support, girder, flanges wheel, concrete pillar timetable. 27.10.1 main feature. The turntable basically consists of the track supported on two parallel fish belly girders which are braced together with the support and suspended with the central pivot. The set of the flange wheels are attached to the end of the girders which are rolled over the rails along the circumference of the pit. Placed on a race rail, the turntable is installed with a circular masonry pivot. The girders support track movement above the rail and can be fixed with the desired position, helping the locking bolts. The bottom of the masonry pit slopes at the top of the center of the sump that provide with the drain. They drain water by means of sump. The drain arrangement, the two or more track radiate with the outward circular edge of the pit with the so designed so that it can be aligned and temporarily connected with the track turntable. The diameter of the turntable should be such that the accommodated longest edge of the surface on the section turntable normally provided with the Indian Railways are the following: 100 foot, 75 foot, and 65 foot broad gauge, meter gauge 65 foot, and 50 foot. Working details. Turntables help the reversing direction engine following the manual. When the direction of the engine is to be reversed, the turntable is made to revolve either manually or electrically to pivot and brought on the line with the track of which the engine is staying in the position, then locked with the help of the locking bolts. The engine brought through the track and the turntable. The locking bolt for the remove. The turntable rotated again. The turntable aligns the track within the engine is required to go. Position locked with the help of the locking bolts. Engine is shown with brought to the required track. Alright, 27.10.3 maintenance. The essential turntable properly maintained with the working efficiency following acceptable turntable that require special attention. Central pivot. Other parts of it should be oiled and greased to ensure that they work smoothly. Level the race rail. There should be perfect alignment. Should be correct. The various parts of the turntable should be painted periodically to avoid corrosion, rusting of the steel parts. As steam locomotives have phased the Indian rails, although equipment connected with the steam locomotives such as ash pans, turntables, water columns are now historical importance only. Alright, 26.11. Triangles are used with the reversing direction engine. The location provided with the cloth for the turntable may be justified, but they're available. They're adequate for the provision. Triangles are normally provided terminals. Short line, the detailed triangle of chapter 15. 27.12. Traverser. The device of the transversing vehicles in one track with the parallel to one with using a turnout over the crossover. Quite cross arrangement with the preferred only in the workshop where spaces are limited to codes that the locomotive is required to be shifted from one shop to another nominated line. A transverser consists of platform track mounted with small wheels, rollers, which transverse the to and fro with call can fall in line while the track on either side of the transverse. The following steps involved with the transversing vehicle and standing on track 3 on the left side of the track traverser, track 2 on the right hand side. 1. The transverser is aligned with the track 3 on the left-hand side of the vehicle. The transverser on the transverse track. The transverser is shifted so they align with the track at the right-hand side. And 4. The vehicle is transversed on the track 2 with the right-hand side. Alright, figure 27.7 shows the transverser parallel tracks length with the transverser plan of the tracks 1, 2, 3, and rollers. Alright, carriage washing platforms. Terminal station provided with facility washing carriages so that the passenger baggages are cleaned and washed properly. The consist of 2 or 3 long on the siding will accommodate the entire length of the break of the washing platforms provided with the between the siding and the silent features of these water platforms are follows. Washing platform, long platforms, high equal to the height of the carriage floor, with generally made with the cement concrete indicate for the broad gauge line with the width of the 0.61 meters. Washing platforms equipped with a number of hydrants of washing of the carriages with adequate water for the supply available to ensure that the pressure of the water is inside the hydrant. Sufficient washing platform normally provided between the two tracks so that the two carriages can be washed simultaneously. Tracks and supported masonry structure that have adequate arrangement of drainage of water. Alright, 2714, buffer stop. The buffer stop or snap dead ends are provided with the end of the siding to ensure the vehicle stops while they're still on the track. Do not go off of it in the buffer to stop. The type of the barrier placed on across the top tracks to stop the vehicles from going beyond the start selected point. The essential feature of the following: the buffer stop should be structurally strong for the sake of the impact of the rolling vehicle. Should have a buffer disc cross sleeper normally painted with a red lamp. It should be provided with the center of the night. The indications to normal the track should be straight from the sign distance near the buffer stop. They should be visible for the long distance. This shows your buffer stop dead end rail on vertical point, vertical post, lamp, buffering bent rail. Alright, your 2715 stock blocking derailing switch sand hump. The normal practicing to isolating the running line with the siding with the vehicle. The siding does not incidentally roll out of the running line, but out with the same scotch block of the derailing switch is provided with the siding shutting neck. For vehicles, do not go beyond the particular point, and this happens, the vehicle derails. Scotch block is a wooden block placed in the rail, on the rail, properly held in place for the help device from obstruction. Once it's clamped in position, the Scotch block does not allow the vehicle to go beyond it. Dead end siding, a Scotch block, elevation plan, wagon. Or derailing switch. The derailing switch consists of a half a switch only on one tongue rail, which has an open position face with the width of the stock rail, leaving the gap between the cover of the discontinuity of the track. The vehicle cannot go beyond this point. It gets automatically derailed if it does manage to do so. This switch can be closed with the help of the lever. The vehicle can be transversed. Normally, this is called the trap switch. Mainline siding, wagon, derailing switch, dead end. Your sand hump is this probably improbable method of isolating, stopping, and moving the vehicle, causing the damage to it. The sand hump figure 2711 normally provided on the loop line ID over the case of the incoming train. Overshoot being received, the loop line, the sand hump can be made to stop, ensure that there's least damage. 30 meters, 50 millimeters sand hump, 0.3 millimeters of the rail level. A sand hump consists of the amount of sand specified the cross-section of the cover of the track under the end of the dead end of the sand, which is laid in raising gradient. The moving the vehicle comes to a stop because of the combined resistance of the sand hump and the rising gradient. 2716 following market provided between the two converging tracks at the point beyond the center distance the track is less than stipulated minimum distance. Minimum distance 4.265 meters. The broad gauge 3.66 meters. Meter gauge. The vehicle standing on the loop line is not stable beyond the following mark. Beyond the following mark. Otherwise, there may be the side collision with the vehicle standing on the main line. Salient features of the following marks are follows. 2712 here the section FM elevation. Following mark 4,725 mainline loop. The following mark consists of its own concrete block, old wooden steel sleeper painted white. Following mark should be visible distant, therefore it is painted with white. The letters of the FM marked within the bold. The black painted. The top of the following mark should be in the line with the top of the ballast and section. Following mark should be fixed firmly at the ground at right angles of the track. Summary. Several types of equipment needed at the rail of the station to ensure the safety of the railway system. Equipment that requires the conveyance of the passenger station landing goods of the rail yards and the hay yards equipped with the other facilities, locomotive sheds, ash pits, turntable. The safety and efficiency of the station gradually influenced by the quality of the equipment. Chapter 28. Construction of new railway lines and track linking.